Breaking Bad has its fair share of great villains. Tuco,
Oh man, look at that, look!
Todd,
Me and Declan had some differences of opinion, and it got a little messy.
and obviously, Gustavo Fring.
I don't think we're alike at all, Mr. White.
Despite their praise, many people feel that after Gus's death, the villains were very lackluster compared to him, as Gus served as the main obstacle and antagonist in Walter's way for 3 seasons. And now we get to season 5's main antagonist, Jack Welker. In this video I want to talk about the importance of Jack and the role he serves as a necessary evil. First, we need to look at his first appearance. Jack is mentioned shortly after Todd kills Drew Sharp. He mentions his uncle has hookups, which could be useful as Walter fears that Mike's men will testify against him. After Mike's death, Walter arranges a meeting with Jack.
Todd, I think it's time I meet your uncle.
In his first appearance, we see that he is a neo-Nazi with an SS tattoo across his neck and multiple swastikas and the words skinhead on both knuckles. We can see that despite being a neo-Nazi, he is somewhat intelligent, as he organised killing Mike's men in the 2-minute window that Walter asked for. The next time we see Jack, we see him and his gang killing Declan, which is when we see Jack's more psychotic side. As when Jack sees that Declan is still moving, Jack does this.
Arnold! Okay.
His killing shows us that Jack sees this as a kind of game and isn't moved or scared by dead bodies around him. As the phrase "fire in the hole" is a saying meant to warn people of an incoming explosion, which shows the audience that this job is just that, a job, something Jack doesn't care or think much more really about. Jack is a very crude and proud man. He is cruel and shows a level of enjoyment in his actions. Not as much as his nephew Todd, but still a little bit. He is the most brutal person Walter meets in the entire story. As though Gus was heartless, there was a method in his killings. Like when he kills Victor, it was to scare Walter and to evoke fear on him. While Jack just kills very brutally, and isn't shaken by dead bodies, while Walter at this point is still somewhat. This lack of care and cold-bloodedness is one of the reasons that I think Jack achieved the most out of any villain in the show. As Gus, while still cold-hearted, was a very careful and calculated man, while Jack is more clumsy but could achieve his goals due to not feeling guilt or sympathy. Something Gus somewhat had. This is the reason which I think led to one of Breaking Bad's turning points. Hank's death. After Jesse tricks Walter into revealing where he hid his money, Walter calls Jack and gives him directions to his location. But after some thought, he tells Jack not to come, which leads to Walter's arrest.
Walter White, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Jack does not follow this request and comes anyway, leading to one of the most intense scenes in the entire show, the shootout. Remembered. Walter pleads with Jack not to kill Hank, begging him, even telling him that he has $80 million worth of cash that he'll give to him only if he lets Hank go. The point of Jack's character is to be the complete opposite of Hank. One is a DEA agent, one is a neo-Nazi. One looks to stop drugs from being sold, the other is selling and dealing drugs. Hank's paid to stop people from getting hurt, Jack's a hired mercenary. A nice detail is that Hank's last name, Schrader, is of German Jewish descent, and the surname Welker is of German descent. As we know, Germans killed Jews, and German Jews were forced to be suicide pilots during World War II. And Jack is the leader of a neo-Nazi gang. This also could be a way of conveying to the audience that, though they are different in many ways, they are also similar. Both are very intelligent and sly. They are also eventually both betrayed by Walter. And the way they die is very similar, both getting a bullet to the brain mid-sentence. after a shootout, which they were injured in. But I'll get on to Jack's death later. The other main point of Jack's character is to make the audience still root for Walter. As Jack is the most despicable person we see, he kills for money, he kills his associates' family members without sympathy, he enslaves one of the main characters for 6 months and forces him to make meth, and he is an unapologetic neo-Nazi, who doesn't even try to hide his tattoos, which we see in this scene, which shows the fear people have when approaching him.
Can I get you anything else?
Nope. Thanks, darling. Ready for the check?
And if you put Walter up against that, I think it's pretty obvious who you're going to root for. Jack's death is a sort of redemption for our protagonist Walter. After the events of Hank's death, Walt allows Jack to enslave Jesse, and force him to make meth for 6 straight months. While our main character Walter has been hiding after the world finds out that he's Heisenberg. And Jack is the big crime boss of New Mexico. In the final episode of Breaking Bad, Felina, Walter decides to avenge Hank and save Jesse. He does this by coming out of hiding and setting up a meeting with Jack. Meanwhile, Walt kills Jack's gang and injures Jack in the process, which leads to Jack's death via a gunshot to the head. Both are shot in the head mid-sentence, but while Jack begs and tells Walter he'll never find the money, Hank refuses to beg, even pointing out how dumb it is to Walter. I think this illustrates the hypocrite that Jack is, as throughout season 5 Jack says stuff like, "What's with all the greed here?" Meanwhile he's literally stealing millions of dollars. His death also reinforces the idea that Jack is an extreme version of Walter. In conclusion, Jack is in my opinion a necessary addition to the Breaking Bad universe, as he plays the complete opposite of Hank, and despite not being the most complex villain, he is an important character and a memorable one too, and the necessary evil of Breaking Bad.